At times, it's hard to get any real news about the Trump agenda out of Washington and the dishonest fake news media, given their increasingly delusional obsession with Russia and alleged and yet to be proven 9 months later, collusion. But thankfully, you don't have to get your information from the fake news media any longer. Yesterday, President Trump, Vice President Pence, Wisconsin Governor Scott Walker, and Speaker Paul Ryan were all at the White House to announce a major investment decision in what I can only describe as the Trump agenda coming home. Foxconn, a Taiwanese electronics manufacturing company, announced that they would be investing $10 billion in southeast Wisconsin to expand their manufacturing with a brand new facility that will initially lead to 3,000 new jobs. And according to President Trump, that number could be much, much higher.
The company's initial investment of more than $10 billion will create 3,000 jobs at a minimum, with the potential for up to 13,000 jobs in the very near future. The construction of this facility represents the return of LCD, electronics, and electronic manufacturing to the United States, the country that we love. That's where we want our jobs.
This announcement and decision is vintage Donald Trump, and exactly what the Trump agenda is all about. This is the kind of stuff he talked about for years leading up to his run and throughout the entire campaign. Bringing back electronics manufacturing to North America is no small feat either. I'm not sure I can remember the last electronics company that made anything outside of Asia. Foxconn isn't some obscure company either. They boast revenues of over $134 billion and assets of over $80 billion for 2016. They are mostly a contract manufacturer producing the electronics we all use every day, including iPhones and iPads, and various gaming systems like Sony's PlayStation and Microsoft's Xbox consoles. Foxconn would likely never have made this investment decision if Donald Trump was not president, and there was not a serious effort being made by the White House, by Congress, and Treasury Secretary Mnuchin at serious tax reform and major tax cuts for corporations. A company as large and multinational as Foxconn simply would not have made this decision unless they were absolutely sure tax reform and major cuts were coming. Now, I think it's fair to believe that this new plant will be full of automation, not necessarily intense human labor. But that is the current climate of manufacturing in North America in 2017. Of course, the fact this plant is going to Wisconsin is another big win for Trump and the Republican Party in the Midwest, a state that Trump only won by a meager 22,000 votes in November. This kind of investment in the Rust Belt could be transformational for the GOP, who may look to establish a new base of blue-collar Trump voters who were once loyal to Democrats. Wisconsin Governor Scott Walker defended his state's decision to give tax incentives of up to $3 billion to Foxconn. Walker insisted on local radio in Wisconsin, as reported by the Journal Sentinel Online, that Foxconn would only get the full $3 billion in tax incentives over 15 years if they invest their full share of the $10 billion and create those 13,000 jobs, stating, quote, "We've got the clawbacks, we've got the safeguards," unquote. Now let's contrast both Governor Walker and President Trump's pursuit and landing of billions of dollars in investments and thousands of new jobs to Canadian Premiers Rachel Notley and John Horgan and our Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, and their abject failure to lure any new investment, and in fact their policies that have chased out billions and billions of dollars from our country. In Alberta, we've seen the exodus of Shell and ConocoPhillips. And now just this week, Petronas pulled the plug on somewhere between $11 and $36 billion of investment in BC's north in what could have been a massive LNG industry with thousands of jobs as well. The policies of the left hurt the economy of Canada, and this is only being exacerbated by the pro-industry, pro-business policies of the Trump administration, as we've now been witnessing for 6 months. And yet not one member of Canada's federal government, nor one NDP MLA from BC or Alberta will acknowledge that this country is in big trouble if we don't change our tune to compete with the US, because they are just blinded and full of anti-Trump and anti-American sentiment to actually think that, hey, there could be some good that could come to this country with the Trump administration opening up the flow of manufacturing and energy investment back to the US. Because, believe me, if we wanted to, Canada could be hand in hand with the US in bringing back jobs and lowering taxes. But our virtue-signaling liberal and new democratic politicians are just too busy being partisan ideologues to notice. For the Rebel.media, I'm Christopher Wilson. Unlike the dishonest fake news media, we'll tell you about every move in the Trump agenda, and we'll do it from a factual basis. So make sure you click subscribe to our Rebel Media YouTube channel.